This is the draft bill that David Cameron hopes will quell the murmurings of rebellion. If approved, it would cement his promise of a referendum on Europe into law. But experts say the highly unusual move is more rhetoric than real action.
And I think there is a real problem here for David Cameron. He's trying to pull a trick by saying a Tory MP can introduce a private member's bill. In other words, an individual piece of legislation, not a government piece of legislation. And that isn't good enough. Already reports from the Conservatives backbenches say that they're not going to be appeased by this move, that it's not enough for them. They want legislation passed by the government, which is going to set in stone. There's going to be should be a referendum on Britain's membership of the EU. Nothing more, nothing less.
Private member bills involve a long-winded process and don't often get passed into law. So why is Cameron making this move? It may be more to do with a planned vote in Parliament criticising the Queen's speech and calling for it to be amended to include a referendum. Traditionally, such criticism would lead to your resignation, but today, more than 100 Tory MPs are expected to break ranks and do exactly that.
It really has opened up a whole can of worms, this move, because the issue of Europe has divided the Conservative Party for 3 decades. It led to a civil war which engulfed the John Major government in the 1990s and left the Tories unelectable. And really that prospect is opening up for Cameron.
2 of David Cameron's own cabinet ministers have also said they won't vote in line with the Prime Minister. They made their comments while Cameron was in America. Even there, Europe dominated discussion. Barack Obama warned that Britain would lose its influence if it left. It's a decades-old dilemma that is still haunting British politics.
The European Union is now Britain's biggest trading partner, but Britain is also a global investor. For instance, it's traditionally the biggest investor in the United States of America. And British capitalism PLC has been split ever since the Second World War on whether it should look to Europe or whether it should look to across the Atlantic. And that issue has never been resolved.
In reality, though, this is about elections and not Europe. The latest poll out on Tuesday showed support for the Tories at a 10-year low. In fact, unprecedentedly, all 3 parties saw a big drop in support. Instead, support for UKIP, the far-right, anti-Europe, anti-immigration party, is up almost 10%. By trying to avert a real crisis in his leadership and in his party, David Cameron may well have added more fuel to the fire. The rebel amendment will take place on Thursday anyway and will cause considerable embarrassment. But to say that this current political crisis is only impacting the Tories would be unfair. All 3 parties are affected. Mainstream British politics is being hit hard where it hurts as disgruntled voters turn their backs on it. Nargis Mawalari, Press TV, London.